everybody, so I am back with the third and last part of my items that I made for Yorlis for our swap. I made her a little Easle thank you card, and I tried to have it so that it would coordinate with the other two items. So I did use, the paper from the Preppy Princess because I had used it on my clock on the inside and on the back. And then I kind of I used some of the pieces that I used on the pocket wall hanging too. So that's how I brought all three pieces together. So what I did was I also wanted to mimic the clock itself on my card. So what I did was I cut out this die shape, which at the moment I don't know what it's called, but it's a movers and shapers, and it is a clock, a little alarm clock. So I remembered I had this because it's hanging on my wall over here, on my magnetic wall board. So I have a big one too, a big die, but I didn't want to use a big one and cover up the whole card. So I just wanted to make like a smaller type or smaller version of this, just a little bit, to kind of match. So I just punched out or cut out this shape here onto chipboard, and then I cut another piece, a circle, to make my backing out of the same paper that I used here, the same exact paper. I had a little scrap, so I had just enough to back that. And the clock is here actually, and I gave it wings. Now my original clock, there's wings inside here, and then of course the angel has some wings. And I did paint the chipboard with the same colors that I painted the clock, the green here and the pink, which is from Folk Art, and it's lime luster green. It's a pearl paint. So is this one. This one is a pink chiffon pearl paint. So I painted the same like areas, like the little bells green, the bells here, which are like this, and then the pink here, just on there. So, and I did do a little bit of gesso on there as well. And then I just used my silver paint. This is pure silver from Apple Barrel. Pure silver. So there. And then I just made the little, I added the gears and everything in hands, kind of like the larger version of the clock. And I gave it some wings. I had these wings that I had created out of the air dry clay. So I already had those made up in my stash because I had made a whole bunch of them. And you can see in the background, like right here, the paper that I used. And then out of one of the papers from that stack, there's cutouts. Let's see. So here's the paper, this one right here that I use on the front. And then I had used this on the inside, on the inside, and then also for the clock. And then you got, is it this one? Here. So here's one of the cutout sheets. So this area here, I cut out this part which I used inside, and then I cut this piece. I just fussy cut that out. Excuse me. So what I did was I made like a little crown on top of my card. And if you could see the way that I put it on here, I hot glued these two ends, but I kind of lifted this area up so it would be more dimensional. And here, this part is a crown, and then I just added a flower. Now this is an easel card, so let me just pop it up so you can see again how it stands. And anyway, the inside, well, let me show you the back. I always like to finish the back, so I just use white cardstock first and then finish the back with coordinating paper. And here's the inside. Here's that piece that I was telling you that I had cut out, so this is where I'm going to put my sentiment. And then down here, this is like a scrap piece that I had left over from this project. So this right here. So again, I wanted to coordinate both of the projects into this card here. So we have pretty much the same trims minus this lace trim that I used here. That's just an extra piece. This same lace here, this same trim over here is from the top part here from Muriel, I believe. And so I just layered it all. I hung off the edge that, and that literally was the last scrap that I had left. There was one, somehow it was cut off. I don't even know how, but that's all I had left, so I just used it. And down here, this lace here was actually a flat lace, but I had a little piece left, so I just made a bow. The flat lace I just, hot glued in and ruffled it. And the extra I just made a bow so that I wouldn't, store that scrap. And then here is a little dimensional sticker that says thank you from Hobby Lobby. I mean, I don't mind that it's black. It actually looks good, so it stands out. You can see that it, it says thank you. Over here, I used a scrap of pink lace, and it's hard to see, but it's kind of fanned out here, and it's the same pink lace that I used in this background here and that I added to the bottom here. So I had a piece left. Again, trying to, instead of store all the little scraps that are left over from projects, just use them either in the actual project or throw it into the card that's going to match. So I don't have, because I do have like a little box of scraps, but they're not getting used. So I'm thinking I'm just going to start using the scraps in the project, tuck it in somewhere under a flower or something, or into the card that I'm going to make for, that's going to go with the project, so that I'm not saving all the little scraps. Here's another scrap that I had left. This was a wide crochet trim here, and I used it over here as well. So again, I had it left over from this project, but I ended up putting it in here. And once I first added all these, pieces, then I added my little clock that I had made separately, glued that down, and then I made my arrangement of flowers, and I did the same technique with the flowers like I did here, where some of them I did the sugared flowers with the, where is it? With the diamond dust and the gesso. First you add the gesso, then you put on the diamond dust with some kind of adhesive. I just use my glossy accents, and then some are just with the gesso. So it's just a variety of with and without the sugared effect, and they're all the same flowers, exactly the same flowers and the leaves that I used on the clock, so it all coordinates, which these are wild orchid craft flowers and leaves minus these little teeny tiny ones. They were in my stash. I think that is it pretty much. So again, I'm just going to fill out that. I'll give you a closer look of the trims. They were just hot glued down. And I do love the way this just dangles. You could put it like at the edge of a shelf and prop it up and then have this hanging off your shelf. Or just put it like that, or close it up and put some clips and then you can hang it on the wall. So yeah, I think that's it. I just put a little bit of gesso around the edges. It's barely noticeable, a little bit here as well. There's my bird, same birds that I used here, except that I didn't gesso them, or it, and then another key, and it comes from the same collection that I used in here, which I think is Tim Holtz, and that is it, I believe. I'm looking at it trying to see if there's anything I'm missing. Nope. So there's my coordinating card that goes with the clock. And let me zoom out if I can. Let's scoot this stuff over. And my wall hanging. So I think it all coordinates very well. I didn't put any of the beads like this on here. I didn't think it needed it. It has a lot going on already, so I didn't think it needed it. But it still coordinates because, you know, I made the little clock to match, and I used the trims from here and the flowers from there. So everything will go. It's got a little touch of green. The only thing that doesn't have a touch of green is this, but I really don't want to add any green onto it. I think it's fine the way it is. So these are my projects for Yorlis and for our swap. I hope she loves everything like I do. And thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye now.